maybe it makes sense to describe the browser company by describing first some of the other experiences I've had leading up to it. I started off my career actually at Google in big tech, working actually very, very great timing. I was working on the early Chrome team. So I worked on a browser, and I worked on a browser before Chrome was the dominant browser in, the name that it was still extremely unclear, actually, whether or not Chrome had legs. It also, I was working on the video team. So that meant, at the time, Flash was the predominant way that people viewed video. NPAPI plugins were the predominant way where, again, the reason why the plugins existed was because the web APIs just did not provide enough options for you to be able to make more immersive experiences on the web. So I was part of a team that was building alternative APIs to NPAPI plugins. We weren't sure if that was going to take off. Actually, even the question of are plugins going to be the way forward or not was not decided. And so I started at Google and started on Chrome there. And it was just such a fun, exciting time of this is, early code base and there's so much to do. And that sort of environment I ended up really liking, where it's we've got this uncertain mission. Again, at the time, Chrome was one of the first browser that did a multi-process architecture. So it was all these exciting unknown problems, sort of exploring a space. And if anything, I would say that that gave me the wrong impression of big companies. When I joined Google at that time on Chrome, I was I love big companies. Oh my God, you just get all these cool greenfield projects to work on with all the comforts
with resources and everything. Yeah.
I spent 5 wonderful years on Chrome, had a great time.
Yeah, I feel it was really influential, right? Because, it was the very kind of first versions of it.
Yes, absolutely. Chrome is immensely influential browser. At the browser company, Arc, use Chromium, so many different browsers, even if they're ultimately trying to compete with Chrome, are still using Chromium as its way of rendering the web pages. And so, yeah, when I look at it in retrospect, it's actually oh wait, I've always craved what's typically considered more of a startup environment. The fact that I happened to start at Google, but you're working on Chrome. Actually, again, when I changed teams a few times at Google, I think that's when I was more confused. Oh wait, this is what working.
It was a very different. Yeah.
And again, I love my experiences at Google. I love the people I worked with on Maps and in VR. Actually, VR. That also was more startup-y, and that it was just exploring new spaces. But Maps was more oh, this is what working at a big company is like. So much respect for that, but it wasn't
And what were those specific differences? Is it the size of team or?
Great question. It's it's really all of the above. It's you go a lot slower.
Yeah.
The code base is massive, and Chrome was already big. It's kind of expected that you might spend 2 to 3 years just wrapping your head around the problems that Google Map is facing in order to innovate on something big, which I respect. That's cool. For people to devote that much time to a problem, really thinking about it, understanding it, untangling it. But for me, because I didn't happen to love maps, that subject matter that much in order to devote 3+ years, 5+ years, 10+ years to doing that, that was what made it not a great fit. Because I was oh, I'm not as interested in that domain. So an environment where I can sort of explore new problems that are less established, that actually feels more fun to me, that feels more interesting, more aligned with my interests. And so that's actually what led me to both Glitch and the browser company and trying out startups was hey, let's I love trying to figure out that sort of early stage of a product. And again, when it's really not clear if you're going to succeed or not.
Or something. Yeah.
That ended up being something I kept returning.